Welcome to Auto News Talk.
Picture a service drive, right? A customer just paid $1,200 for brakes and rotors.
Ouch.
Yeah, and they just want to leave. But the service advisor slides a tablet across the counter and, practically begs for a perfect 10 out of 10 score.
Oh, I've been there. Warning them that anything less means they fail their performance review.
Exactly. So the customer just taps 10 to escape the awkward interaction.
Yeah.
On paper, the dealership looks like this flawless hospitality machine.
Right.
But in reality, they have no idea that the customer waited an hour just to get their keys and will probably, never come back.
No, never.
So welcome to Auto News Talk. We are watching the automotive industry violently wake up from this kind of statistical hallucination.
It is a painful but very necessary awakening. For years, the easiest way to show operational growth was to track these vanity metrics.
Numbers that were literally engineered to go up, regardless of the underlying reality. But if you are managing a dealership, a collision center, or an auto finance portfolio right now, you know those manipulated numbers are actively hiding your worst bottlenecks.
Right. And the operators pulling ahead are ruthlessly hunting down the friction in their own systems. And they are demanding raw, unfiltered truth to do it.
Yeah, which is exactly the terrain we are going to walk through on this segment.
We are tracking a distinct shift across the entire ecosystem.
Right. So we are going to trace this pursuit of efficiency across three main areas: how dealers are uncovering the truth about their inventory and customers, how operational speed is becoming the ultimate competitive advantage, and how macroeconomic forces are separating the winners from the losers.
It's a complete pivot from surface-level gloss to structural mechanics. And the best place to start is right back at that service drive we mentioned. Dealerships are trying to get better, cleaner data from their two biggest variables: customers and inventory.
And to do that, they have to completely tear down the traditional CSI survey.
Because it's completely rigged.
Yeah.
I was reading one of the reports focusing on practical survey tactics.
Yeah.
And it completely deconstructs how auto retailers are revamping these processes.
Yeah, they are finally realizing that artificially inflated scores are useless for identifying actual operational flaws.
Exactly. So what are they actually doing differently?
Well, the report details a strategy to just completely strip away the social pressure, the advisor hovering over the customer. Instead of the tablet on the counter, dealerships are moving to a secure, private portal accessed via a QR code.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they are changing the architecture of the questions themselves. They're dropping those broad emotional questions like, how did our team make you feel?
Right, which is so subjective.
Exactly. They were trading that for 3 to 5 hyper-specific, process-focused questions, like how long did you wait to be greeted, or was the final billing explained clearly?
It's like stepping on a scale that's rigged to always say you lost 5 pounds. It feels great, but it's completely useless for your actual health.
That is a perfect analogy.
But, the detail in this source that really caught my eye was how they are changing the reward structure. We have all seen those massive sweepstakes like, fill this out for a chance to win a 65-inch TV.
Oh, yeah.
But the strategy specifically highlights skipping those high-value sweepstakes altogether. Why abandon a tactic that clearly drives participation?
Because it drives the wrong kind of participation. High-value sweepstakes attract prize seekers.
Ah.
Yeah, those are people who will click 5 stars straight down the board in 10 seconds just to enter their email address. It just creates noise. Instead, the report shows dealers pivoting to modest dealership-linked incentives.
Like what?
Like a discount on your next oil change or a complimentary interior detail.
Oh, that's clever. Because a discount on an oil change only appeals to someone who actually intends to bring their car back.
Precisely. It rewards genuine feedback from actual customers, and it directly builds service lane retention.
That is really smart.
The source also points out that they are safeguarding this data by generating unique survey codes tied to specific repair orders. So they audit the responses to ensure they map to a real, verified transaction.
Okay, I have to stop you there because the reality of dealership software is usually a nightmare.
Oh, absolute nightmare.
Connecting an anonymous, unique survey code generated on a customer's phone back to a specific repair order inside a legacy dealer management system. That requires some serious API plumbing. Does the report actually explain how a mid-sized dealer pulls that integration off?
No. That is the blind spot. What this strategy doesn't answer is the exact technological setup needed to integrate these unique anonymous survey codes with existing dealership sales logs. It completely glosses over the IT burden.
Right. So we are demanding better data, but we are still fighting our own tech stacks to get it. And Honestly, that friction with technology leads us perfectly into the other side of the inventory equation.
The AI rebellion.
Yes, we are seeing a massive rebellion against the tools dealers are using to analyze their own operations. Because getting good data is only half the battle, right? Analyzing it is the other.
And dealers are hitting a wall. This brings us to a survey released by LotLinks regarding digital retailing and technology. And it introduces a concept that is spreading like wildfire. They call it generic AI fatigue.
Generic AI fatigue.
Yeah. Dealerships are openly rejecting off-the-shelf artificial intelligence.
The numbers in the LotLink survey are just staggering. 84% of respondents say they fail to get what they need from generic AI tools. 84%.
It's massive.
People are clearly trying to use it, mostly for basic administrative tasks like writing marketing emails or whatever. But when it comes to actual operational leverage, the generic bots are completely dropping the ball.
Because generic AI lacks automotive context, which the survey cites as the top frustration. I mean, think about the mechanics of a dealership. If a generic AI writes a vehicle description, it doesn't know that specific car has been sitting on the lot for 85 days.
Oh, right. It doesn't know the floor plan financing interest is eating the profit margin alive every single night.
Exactly. It just writes, beautiful leather seats. What dealers actually want is an inventory-native AI advisor. They want Watch My Store monitoring and natural language queries.
Meaning they want to ask their computer, why isn't this specific truck selling? And get a real answer.
Yes. They are trying to move beyond basic text generation and need AI that can diagnose the bottleneck and actually adjust pricing levers.
But hold on, we have to talk about the security paradox in this data because it blew my mind.
Oh, the upload data, yeah.
The survey points out that 69% of dealers upload dealership data to generic AI tools daily. Yet only 11% express any security concerns about it.
It's a glaring security paradox.
You're telling me dealers are practically screaming that generic AI doesn't understand their business, but they are simultaneously pasting their most sensitive store data into open platforms every single afternoon. How does that disconnect happen?
Well, the people uploading the data, maybe a junior marketing manager trying to save time on a spreadsheet, aren't the ones responsible for data governance. It's just convenience overrating security.
It's like pasting the combination to your safe on a public billboard because it was the fastest way to remind your manager how to open it.
Pretty much.
Now, as a disclaimer, what the survey data doesn't answer is the sampling methodology, margin of error, or the exact wording of the questions asked, so we have to keep that in mind.
True, but the overarching trend of generic AI fatigue is undeniable, and it proves a larger point. If your technology isn't actually helping you execute faster, it's just noise.
Which means process execution speed is becoming the ultimate currency in this industry. Once you have the right data, you have to execute.
And the most interesting playbook for execution right now isn't coming from urban mega dealers.
No, it's coming from rural markets. A recap from the Car Dealership Guy podcast featured Fred Timbrook, the CEO of Timbrook Automotive. He is scaling his rural dealership group, and his strategy completely ignores the typical mega dealer model.
Yeah, he focuses intensely on three things: collision center speed, power sports diversification, and tight cost discipline.
So let's talk about the collision centers first, because his approach to throughput is brilliant. He prioritizes collision center cycle time over ad spend. Why?
Well, in the collision industry, insurance companies dictate where the volume goes. And insurers care about one thing above all else: reducing the amount of time they have to pay for a customer's rental car.
Oh, I see. So if your shop fixes the car 2 days faster than the shop down the street, the insurer saves 2 days of rental fees.
Exactly. By turning cars faster, Timbrook shops win those insurer referrals. The insurance company essentially becomes his marketing department.
That operational speed is far more reliable than buying a billboard on the highway. And he leverages the stability of rural markets to smooth out the broader industry volatility.
Right.
But my favorite part of Timbrook's strategy is his aggressive push into power sports. He operates high-level Honda power sports stores, and the psychology behind this pivot is fascinating.
It really challenges a lot of traditional auto assumptions. The recap highlights a distinct psychological quirk from his experience.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah. A customer will walk into a dealership, look at a practical, sensible sedan, and decline the car payment because they say budgets are tight.
Well, right, I can't afford it.
But then that exact same customer will turn around and finance a pricier recreational unit like a side-by-side ATV or a motorcycle.
I can't afford the commuter car. I actually need to get to work, but I will absolutely sign a loan for the four-wheeler. It is such a pure human contradiction.
It really proves that emotion drives discretionary purchases. It completely overrides strict budget logic.
And from a unit economics perspective, the recap points out that power sports are highly capital efficient, right?
Very. They require lower working capital than traditional auto. The floor plan financing costs on an ATV are vastly different than a loaded pickup truck.
Which fuels his ambition, because he has a very aggressive goal.
Oh yeah, 50 years, 50 stores. He wants to hit 25 stores by age 62 and 50 stores by age 72.
But to scale to 50 stores, you have to control your vendor costs. This connects right back to our AI discussion. Timbrook demands usage-based vendor pricing to protect rural store margins. If a tech vendor tries to charge him a flat monthly fee that crushes the margins of a low-volume store, he just won't buy it.
He is enforcing cost discipline at the structural level.
But here is where I have to question the scalability. What this rural playbook doesn't answer is whether the power sports industry will actually catch up to auto's process maturity, or if it will remain, as claimed, 25 years behind.
Yeah, that 25-year gap is a huge claim.
If the underlying software and vendor support in power sports are stuck in the dial-up era, how does he scale hyper-efficient processes across 50 stores?
That is the inherent friction. You have to build the operational discipline yourself. But, even if a dealership perfects its internal operations, the ultimate bottleneck to operational speed often isn't the dealership.
No, it's the government.
It's the government, but even that is changing.
Don't remind me. Anyone who has ever bought or sold a car privately knows the absolute misery of paper title transfers. Waiting in line with a slightly crinkled piece of paper, just hoping you signed on the correct line.
It's the worst. But an initiative from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators, or AAMVA, is finally dragging this process into the modern era.
Yes, they are preparing to launch a module for electronic, paperless, private party title transfers. It's the ultimate rejection of slow legacy bureaucracy. But as a consumer, I'm still wondering what this actually looks like for me. Am I scanning a QR code on the buyer's phone?
We don't know that. What this initiative doesn't answer yet is what the specific consumer portals and workflows will actually look like in practice.
Right. The front end is still a mystery. So if we step back, all these operational efficiencies, from survey data to digital titles, ultimately crash into the macroeconomic reality of consumer wallets and lending markets.
And for a glimpse of how this plays out on a macro level, we can look at the UK market. Data from the Finance and Leasing Association paints a picture of a market that is fundamentally splitting in two.
The UK motor finance market is showing incredible resilience in new car lending despite a lot of economic gloom. But the used car market is just stalling out completely.
It really is. Consumer new car finance value jumped 16% and the volume rose 15%.
Up 15% in volume.
Yeah, and it's the sixth consecutive month of growth, but then you look at the stark divergence in the data. While new car volumes surged 15%, used car finance volumes actually slipped by 1%.
So the new cars are flying off the lot, but the used cars are hitting a wall. It's a complete tale of two markets. Why the exact opposite trajectory?
It illustrates how normalizing supply chains and manufacturer incentives are boosting the new car segment. Manufacturers finally have inventory, so they're deploying subsidized, artificially low interest rates.
Consumers are jumping on those low rates.
Exactly. But on the used car side, higher borrowing costs are sidelining used car buyers. There is no manufacturer stepping in to buy down the interest rate.
And on top of this consumer divergence, lenders are dealing with a massive regulatory shakeup. The Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, is reviewing historical commission arrangements.
Yes. They are investigating models that allowed brokers to adjust interest rates and increase their own commissions. Those are banned now, but the FCA is reviewing redress schemes to compensate consumers.
And the financial burden of that regulation is already causing major players, like First Rand, to exit the market.
Which is a huge red flag.
But what this financial data doesn't answer is how the FCA's redress scheme will impact the long-term availability of credit, especially if more lenders follow First Rand's lead and just exit the market.
That is the big unknown.
Okay, so let's pull this entire journey together for the listener. Across these 5 distinct areas, 3 clear themes emerge.
First, we have the rejection of vanity metrics for actionable truth. We see this supported by the CSI survey pivot, where dealers want real answers instead of coached scores, and the rejection of generic AI in favor of tools that actually understand the business.
Right. Second, process speed is the ultimate currency. This is supported by Timbrook's hyper-focus on collision center throughput and AMVA's push for paperless e-titles to eliminate government bottlenecks.
And third, we are looking at a market defined by stark divergence. We see this supported by the UK's massive split between surging new car finance and stalling used car lending.
And we also saw it in the claim that the power sports industry is 25 years behind auto in maturity. Alongside those themes, there are two major tensions we have to highlight.
The first is the AI security paradox. The LotLink survey proves dealers are terrified that general AI doesn't understand their business, yet 69% of them are casually uploading sensitive store data to these platforms daily.
It's just wild.
It is. The second tension is the market split. We are seeing a simultaneous boom and stall in consumer appetite, new car lending surging by double digits, while used car lending is shrinking based on that UK finance data.
So for you listening to this, what is the practical takeaway? The overarching lesson is to pivot from broad generalities to granular unit-by-unit management.
Exactly.
Whether that means tracking a specific repair timeline, pricing a single VIN with native AI, or fixing a specific service bottleneck with honest customer feedback, you have to manage the details.
The operators who thrive will be the ones who strip away the illusions.
And that is the perfect place to wrap up. Thanks for joining us on Auto News Talk. In an industry built on moving metal, your real competitive edge is stripping away the illusions, whether that's a paper title, generic tech, or a coached survey score.
Find the friction and eliminate it.
Look at your own operations. Where are you relying on a vanity metric that might be hiding a critical bottleneck? Keep that question in mind as you review your dashboards. See you next time on Auto News Talk.